Whew. Wow, that was a fantastic afternoon bird watching. You enjoyed it too, didn't you? Which was your favourite bird? The wren. Oh, because he was hiding in the rocks and the ferns, yes. Well, would you like me to tell you why he was hiding? Yeah. Well, it all started a long time ago, when all the birds were having a huge argument about who should be chief bird. They all thought they were very important, but one would have to be chief bird to stop the arguing. So the owls, because they were very clever, they got together and decided to have a big meeting, called all the birds together, cheeping, squawking, tweeting, pipping, peeping. Oh, it was a cacophony of sounds, and they couldn't get order. A cacophony, it means it's a lot of different sounds, you can't make one out, and sometimes it can give you a headache. And the owl was saying, hoo 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 hoo, quiet please, quiet, but they wouldn't take any notice. So the raven jumped up with the owls and he went, order, order. And then the owls could speak. Well, the owls had had a chat with each other, and they decided that they should have a competition to decide who was going to be chief bird. And the great grey owl, who was in charge, he said, there's one thing that we birds can do that is unique. Do we know what it is? Ah, 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 said a macaw. We can fly, we can fly. And they all cheered. Yes, they could fly. Nothing else could fly. That's right, said the owl, looking at his colleagues, the tawny owl, the Scops owl, the spectacled owl, putting his glasses on. We can fly. The competition will be, whoever can fly the highest will be chief bird. Hold on a minute, said a voice. It was the emu. Hold on a minute. I'm a very big bird and I can't fly. What about my friend here, ostrich? And what about cassowary and rhea and little kiwi? We can't fly. We can't take part. That's not fair. And what about us? Said a voice from over there. It was the penguins. I'm an emperor penguin. I'm very important. I can't fly. I'm a king penguin, said another one. I'm a king and I can't fly. And I'm a jackass penguin, said another one. And I can't fly. Oh yes, that's a problem perhaps, said the owl. And then a little voice from the back said, what about me? And they looked round. It was a bat. I can fly and I'm not a bird, he said. Please leave, said the owl. This meeting's for birds only. Hop it. So the bat had to go. Anyway, the owl said, we'll meet here in the morning at sunrise and the competition will start. And the birds who can't fly or don't want to fly can be the judges. Well, that made the ostrich and the emu feel very important. And then the secretary bird said, I could be secretary. And she plucked a quill from the back of her head and said, I can make all the notes. So they decided that's what they'd do. Well, in the morning all the birds were there and it was all cheeping and squawking again. Yes, it was a cacophony again. Yeah, that's right. They were all there and the raven had to call order. Order, order. The ostrich will do the countdown for the flight. Please prepare yourselves. Well, the little wren thought he was very important and he'd like to be chief bird, but he was so tiny he knew he could never fly higher than the big birds, so he decided to cheat. I know, he decided to cheat. All the birds were getting ready. The ostrich counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fly! And all the birds took off. Tails were unfurled, wings were spread, feathers opened, and up they went, whoosh, 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 higher and higher. The robins, the thrushes, the bee-eaters, pheasants, partridges, swallows, swifts, martins, storks, herons, pelicans, ducks, geese, swans, parrots, pigeons, gulls, hornbills, toucans, hummingbirds, waders, puffins. They were all there, all going up and up and up. Well, the golden eagle, he was very confident. He was a good flyer. And he was very sure of himself. He was doing his pre-flight checks. Primary feathers, check. Secondary feathers, check. Tail feathers, check. Beak, check. Talons, check. He was ready to fly, but just as he was about to take off, the little wren hopped on his back and snuggled amongst his feathers. The eagle was so big that he didn't even notice, and he took off. Up and up he went, up and up, past the magpies and the crows and the waders and the little songbirds. The falcon, she was going up very fast, but the eagle even went past her. He got some warm air under his wings, and he overtook the albatross, and he overtook all the big birds. He even went past the condor, and the condor was his friend, and he said, "Go, eagle, go!" And then finally the eagle reached the heights far above any other bird. And the ostrich said, "The eagle is the winner. The eagle has flown higher than anybody else." Just at that moment the wren popped out and fluttered above the eagle's head. "Look at me, look at me, look at me." The ostrich said, "What the? The wren has flown higher than the eagle. He's chief bird." Well, when all the birds came back down to land, they all settled down and they were all a bit annoyed. Why should the wren, a tiny little bird, be chief? But that was the competition, and he'd won the competition. The owl said they must all bow to the wren and call him chief bird. And as they were bowing, and the wren was feeling very important, the ostrich said, "Hang on, what's that between the feet? There, what's that in your claws?" And the wren looked down and there was a feather. And the eagle said, "Actually, I believe that's one of my feathers off my back. You were in the feathers on my back. You cheat, you cheat, you cheat." And they all chased the wren and tried to peck him and scratch him. And he had to hide in the rocks and the ferns, and he had to hide until they'd all gone away. And that's why, until this very day, the wren hides amongst the rocks and the ferns and the roots and doesn't come out in the open, because all the birds still know that he was a cheat. And if he comes out, they'll peck him and get him. That's what you get for being a cheat, isn't it? Yeah.